I told Adam I wanted a divorce. I don't want anything but the money. Adam sneered with his hands in his pockets. You don't want your son, the one you cherish like life itself? I don't want him. Because the birthday wish of my 5-year-old son was, can Daddy and Mommy get divorced? I want Clara to be my mom. I handed the divorce agreement to Adam. He looked at it as if it were just another ordinary document on the table. His gaze was cold and distant. The warmth he showed me probably only came out when he was desperately seeking something at night. Donna, throwing a tantrum requires some context. This is a workplace. He was sure I wouldn't really go through with the divorce. He thought it was just a petty jealousy tactic. I'm not throwing a tantrum. I had been waiting for him in the reception area like any regular visitor for a full 3 hours. I also had to endure the pitying looks from others. How could this be a tantrum? Miss Clara is here to see Mr. Adam. She doesn't need to wait even a minute. So the rumors are true. Mr. Adam really dislikes his wife? They are true. Mr. Adam really doesn't like his wife. The one he truly cares for has always been Clara. Adam, I want a divorce. The sooner, the better. Donna, what are you playing at? Only then did Adam lower his gaze to look at the agreement. Donna, is this all you want for the divorce? Yes, initially, when I got unexpectedly pregnant, he intended to give me this money as compensation to keep me away from him. But I didn't leave. Because I was a strategist who had crossed over into this story. Having Eden and marrying him was a mission assigned to me by the system. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't warm Adam's heart. We had no future together. This money could be considered a late compensation. The $50 million on the agreement was a drop in the bucket for him. But for me, it was a fortune, enough for me to live happily. Adam stood up, looking down at me. The expensive tailored suit made him appear even taller and more imposing. He sneered with his hands in his pockets. Is it just about the money? Don't you want your son, the one you love so much? I smiled faintly. I don't want him. I used to love Eden a lot. After all, he was my flesh and blood. For 5 years, I poured all my patience and love into his growth. Perhaps it was a case of hate the house, hate the crow. Adam had little affection for Eden. When Eden was born, Adam glanced at him and simply said, "He looks a lot like Donna." Then he handed Eden over to the housekeeper. But oddly enough, Eden adored Adam. He had a remarkable talent for language. At just 3 years old, he coldly told me, "Daddy doesn't come home because it's your fault, Mommy." I thought it was just a child's naive talk. Later, when he turned 4, he met Clara, who had come back from her divorce. Afterward, he told the housekeeper, "No wonder Daddy likes Aunt Clara, I like her too. Aunt Clara is gentler than Mommy and knows how to make me happy better than Mommy does. It was just because I didn't let him eat too many candies." He pouted in anger. As I stepped out of the kitchen, I heard his accusations. Holding back my discomfort, I softly said, "Eden, Mommy will buy you new candies. Homemade by Mommy, a combination of pear and hawthorn, delicious and healthy." But he snatched the hawthorn candies I made and threw them into the trash can. He shouted, "I don't want your garbage, I want the fancy candies Aunt Clara brought from Italy." What if I want cavities? I stared at him in disbelief. My son was so much like his father, he was just as unyielding. Especially on his 5th birthday. Both father and son invited Clara. When it was time to blow out the candles, I suddenly heard the long-lost voice of the system in my mind. "Host, sorry to keep you waiting, I'm back." Though no one else could hear its voice, I instinctively stepped outside the hall. "Host, your mission is complete, you have enough points to go back now." In my original world, I had accidentally been injured and fell into a coma. So I struck a deal with the system, completing the mission would wake me up. You can also choose to stay, since you have a family now. In your original world, you were just a lonely person. Just as I was hesitating, Eden made the decision for me. As soon as I stepped back into the hall, I heard his birthday wish. His voice was clear and loud, even unabashedly ignoring my presence. "Can Daddy and Mommy get divorced? I want Aunt Clara to be my mom." Everyone was momentarily stunned. Adam furrowed his brow slightly. Choose another wish. Clara covered her mouth and laughed. Oh, you can't say that, you're too adorable. But there was an undeniable smugness in her eyes. I smiled a little. Turning to the system, I said, help me go home, I don't want to wait even a second. But the system delivered some bad news. Since the central system has taken on too many hosts, there's now a cooling-off period for exiting the system. I was stunned. The system cleared its throat. Just like your human divorce cooling-off period, you need to wait. Wait for him, damn it. I silently reminded myself to use civil language and asked, how long? 3 years. 3 years? I exploded at the system. It was silent for 3 seconds before saying, consider it compensation for my long absence, giving you an extra third of the points, redeemable for your full health after waking from the coma. Fine, then I'll get the divorce first. That's why I was standing in Adam's office. Adam, let's get divorced. Adam snapped his fingers and lit a cigarette. He exhaled a puff of smoke, laughing with a swagger. Donna, have you forgotten? Who said 5 years ago that she would die without Eden? That was me. That year, when Adam heard the news about Clara's marriage abroad. He tortured me all night. The next day, I came down with a high fever and burned alone in the house for 3 days. In my days, I forgot to take the medication. Later, I found out I was pregnant with Eden. When Adam learned about it, he initially coldly urged me to give up on Eden. I remembered the system's words, giving up now means mission failure. Do you understand the consequences, host? So I had to plead with Adam, if I lose the child, I'll die. If I didn't plead with him, given his ruthless nature in business, he could easily find a way to deal with me. Adam was harsh to everyone, even himself. His only weakness was Clara, whom he had lived with in the orphanage and had saved him. Later, Clara was adopted by a wealthy family. Adam, with his wild nature since childhood, fought his way from a small-time thug to a business tycoon, all to gain the recognition of Clara's adoptive parents and marry her. Unfortunately, before he could present her with a massive pink diamond, he received news of Clara's marriage. It was long after that I learned. Adam proposed to me suddenly. Because of a single sentence from Clara. Adam, I'm married now, I hope to hear good news from you. I looked at Adam's handsome face. But in my heart, I thought, I hope I never see him again. I said lightly, since both you and your son like Clara. After the divorce, you can start a family together, isn't that great for everyone? Adam narrowed his eyes at me. One long-fingered hand lifted my chin. He smiled scornfully, playing hard to get? Then he dropped the smile, his tone turning harsh. Want to play games? I'm in. Add one more thing, after the divorce, without my consent, you're never allowed to see Eden again. Is he threatening me? If it were before, that would have been a lethal blow. Because love creates vulnerabilities. But now, I don't want to love anyone anymore. So I have no vulnerabilities. Under his provocative gaze, I replied calmly, okay. He was momentarily taken aback, his gaze darkening. He grabbed a pen and swiftly scribbled something on the agreement. Then he tossed a copy to me. I picked up the agreement and turned to leave. Adam clenched his jaw. Donna, get out of Adam's life tonight. Fine. I feel surprisingly stable emotionally. But then I pause and smile at him. Are you kicking me out before we even get the divorce certificate? I can't let myself lose out, please pay the alimony in advance. Thanks. There's a hint of anger on Adam's face. But from what I know about him, he can be quite generous when it comes to money. If all goes well, I should receive that $50 million tomorrow. Not bad. I watch as Donna walks out of the office without looking back. Adam feels a bit restless for no reason. At that moment, Assistant Zhang walks in with some documents. He has been with Adam for many years, calling him a confidant wouldn't be an exaggeration. Mr. Adam, is Donna really getting a divorce? As he exhales smoke, Adam replies coldly. It's just a bit of drama, she wouldn't dare. How could she bear to leave Eden? Assistant Zhang chuckles, true, Donna loves you and the child so much. Maybe she's just throwing a little tantrum, you can just comfort her, Mr. Adam. No need to comfort her, from what I know, within 3 months, she'll be back crying and begging for my forgiveness. Assistant Jean laughs, sets down the contract, and walks out. Adam looks down from the 30th floor, watching as the lights of thousands of homes gradually illuminate below. He suddenly thinks of Donna from years ago. The first time under him, she was nervous and scared, like a helpless little rabbit. With red-rimmed eyes and a quivering voice, she said things he didn't understand. Adam, I didn't just come here to seduce you, I genuinely like you. If not, I wouldn't be doing this with you. Adam, please treat me better from now on, okay? Adam leans down, sealing her chatter with his lips, silencing her soft sobs that lasted throughout the night. Over the years, Donna has been obedient and well-behaved. The only thing that infuriated him was how she used their child to manipulate him. She absurdly claimed, if the child is gone, the mission will fail, and I won't exist anymore. He had to punish her. So for 5 years, he never gave her a kind look. After all, she had nowhere to go, she'd stay by his side until the end. He can still hear her naive plea ringing in his ears. Adam, I want to have a lovely child, the 3 of us living in a cozy little home, okay? No. He had no desire for a family at all. He had never had such a thing since he was a child. Now that he has everything under control, he needs it even less. On the day Donna brought up the divorce, he oddly didn't attend the dinner and returned home early. Where's Donna? The housekeeper replied softly, she moved out this afternoon. Adam felt even more irritated inside but didn't show it on his face. He just snorted coldly, she plays the part well. With that, he walked into his study and ignored it further. After receiving the agreement, I returned to Adam. I quickly packed up a few things and got ready to leave. Eden was sitting in the living room, playing on a tablet with candy in his mouth. Colorful wrappers were strewn all over the floor. He glanced up at me and said flatly, Dad, let me eat this. It's from Aunt Clara, mind your own business. I smiled and added, I don't care, you can eat 100 of them if you want. I squatted down and pinched his cheek. You're the one who'll get cavities, not me. Eden, I'm leaving. Where to? I'm clearing space for your new mom, I won't be coming back here anymore. Eden frowned, looking just like his father. Mom's talking nonsense, Dad says you're also an orphan. Besides sticking to Dad, you really have nowhere else to go. Mom, can you be a bit more mature? Aunt Clara wouldn't act so childish, you're too old for this drama about running away. Mom, just go. I won't miss you. With that, he lowered his head and went back to his game. If it were before, I would have gently taken away his electronics. Then I would have asked him, want to play Lego with Mom? Mom, how about we go swimming? Mom will read picture books with you? I would sacrifice a lot of my personal time for quality time with him. Now, I don't care, whoever wants to can manage him. Alright, Eden, I hope you can keep that tough mouth of yours. With that, I dragged my small suitcase out of Adam's door. The sunlight warmed my face. It stung my eyes a bit. Yet, for words surfaced in my mind, live towards the sun. I rented a small apartment in a boutique community with 2 elevators and 1 unit per floor. There's no need to buy, I can't take it with me in 3 years anyway. The community has a pleasant environment, and opening the window reveals the ocean. However, I can also see someone jumping into the sea. A small child slowly walks toward the waves all alone. I instinctively rush downstairs in my flip-flops, crossing a road and a greenbelt to reach the beach. I scoop up her tiny body. Where are your parents? The little girl looks about 3, with big, round eyes like grapes. Her eyes are moist, as if she just cried. But she doesn't say a word, only clutches her little skirt tightly. Ivy. A young, handsome man approaches. I realize I didn't see clearly before, someone was sitting on a hammock in the trees, watching the little girl. Thank you. But don't worry, she wouldn't dare to walk forward. I was watching. The man steps closer to pick her up, Ivy, let's go home with Daddy. But the girl clings to my neck and won't let go. With her plump little lips, she utters, hug. The man pauses for a moment, then smiles and says, this is Ivy's first time wanting a stranger to hold her. This little one is so soft and pleasant to hold. I can't push her away, so I end up carrying her back to the community. To my surprise, they live right next door. The man thinks for a moment and says, "Ms. Donna, Ivy seems to really like you. I know you're single and currently unemployed. It's just the two of us, father and daughter. I keep myself clean, have no bad habits, and I'm a doctor." I hand the child back to him. In a voice low enough for the child not to hear, I say, "Even if you are a doctor, you shouldn't use your child to flirt. Are you looking into my personal information? I just thought you looked like a male model, yet your behavior is so creepy." He looks at me in shock. "Ms. Donna, I wanted to ask if you could help watch Ivy for a while until I find a nanny she likes." "Of course, I'm fine with the pay you offer." Oh, that's what he meant. He clears his throat. "Well, I know your personal information because I'm your landlord." I confirm his identity, and he really is the landlord. I'm someone who can admit mistakes and knows how to be flexible. "Sorry, landlord, I acted inappropriately." Maybe it was seeing the little girl's pitiful eyes that softened my heart. I agreed to help take care of Ivy for a while. She's very quiet and doesn't talk much. During her time away from kindergarten, she often quietly brings her little stool over to watch me arrange flowers or paint. After I finish a task, she claps her little hands and praises me. "Great job, Donna, you're amazing." I made her call me by my name. I like it this way, being friends with a child. Sometimes, I find myself lost in thought for a moment. Eden never acted this way. He always complains, "Mom, so boring. Can you play Lego with me?" Ivy, such a cute and soft little creature, is truly healing. The only strange thing about her is that she often calls out for her mom and dad in her sleep. When she wakes up, her eyes are all teary. My heart aches as I hold her in my arms, soothing her gently. I give her a hawthorn lollipop I made. She pops it into her mouth, her eyes narrowing into little crescent moons in satisfaction. She gives me a kiss, tasting like sweet fruit. When her dad, Gordon, comes home from work, she proudly tells him, "Daddy, Donna's candy is better than the ones you buy." Sometimes she can't bear to finish it all at once, nibbling slowly instead. I smiled, "Go ahead and eat. If you like it, I'll make more." It turned out that what Eden didn't think much of was treated like treasure by someone else. Before the divorce, my whole life revolved around Eden. Even when I was out for a short while, I'd worry if Eden had bumped into something. Maybe it was Ivy's company. Since leaving Adam, I realized I hardly thought of Eden or anything related to him anymore. Instead, the butler contacted me several times. "Without your bedtime stories, the young master seems a bit lost." "He'll get used to it. The young master has a toothache." "Are you coming back to keep him company?" "No, I'm not a doctor." A few days later, I unexpectedly ran into Eden. Gordon had gone out of town for a conference and asked me to help pick up and drop off Ivy for a few days. But I overlooked that Ivy's new kindergarten was the same as Eden's. Gordon really was willing to spend money on such an expensive private kindergarten. I had just carried Ivy out of the car and sent her in when I bumped into Eden. Adam was still sitting in the car, his face expressionless. Eden opened his mouth, wanting to shout, "Mommy," but then swallowed the words. Even though we were divorced, he was still my son, an old acquaintance. I greeted him casually, "Hi, Eden." But he didn't respond, puffed up like an inflatable pufferfish, and stormed into the classroom. Adam, my ex-husband, was also an old acquaintance. But I wasn't in the mood to greet him. To my surprise, he stepped down from the car and spoke first. "Didn't I say that you're not allowed to see Eden without my permission?" I found it amusing. I didn't see him, it was a coincidence. Believe it or not, I couldn't be bothered to engage with him. Adam snickered behind me. "Donna, how long are you going to keep up this stubborn act?" Donna had been gone for over a month. Adam didn't understand. She was just a delicate person. Why did the house feel so empty without her? But he didn't feel any particular discomfort. It was just that Eden often cried. He would cling to the butler, asking, "When is Mommy coming home?" He couldn't quite describe how he felt about Eden. Maybe it was because he had been abandoned as a child, left beside a garbage dump. He had never experienced what it was like to have parents. So, he didn't quite understand how to be a father. Stop crying. What kind of boy cries like that? Eden sniffled. Daddy, can you tell me a bedtime story like Mommy? I can't. You don't have to sleep. Eden paused for a moment. In the end, Adam sat by Eden's little bed and told him a story. The more he spoke, the more a fire simmered inside him. He should have been in the study, looking over financial reports. Why was he sitting here reading a children's book? With a snap, he closed the picture book. Turn off the lights, sleep if you want to. He wasn't going to read anymore. Eden pouted, reluctantly sliding under the covers. For the first time, he felt that Donna's impulsive departure had disrupted his life's order. That frustration simmered until a few days later when he saw her at Eden's kindergarten. The annoyance in his heart seemed to ease a bit. He thought, how could she bear to leave her son behind? She even intentionally chose a time when he rarely took Eden to school to come. She was just being stubborn and difficult. She was a wealthy lady but insisted on creating drama with a divorce. Butler, take Eden out of kindergarten for a few days. He wanted Donna to make a trip for nothing. If she wanted to see the child, fine, let her come and ask him. But 3 days later, the butler hesitantly said, Madam still goes to the kindergarten every day. Mr. Adam, it seems like she's dropping off other kids too. She isn't specifically here to see the young master. Adam was taken aback. Gordon kept his word. In the 3rd month I accompanied Ivy, he found a gentle nanny to take care of her. Out of habit, I helped whenever I had free time. Saying I was looking after her was more like we kept each other company. When Gordon wasn't busy, he often cooked for me. Perhaps it was a habit from being a doctor. He would usually debone fish or trim meat off the bones before cooking. But it tasted pretty good. Each time, I'd feel a mix of fear and satisfaction as I finished the meal. After dinner, Ivy would play with her magnetic puzzle at the little table in the living room. We'd sit on the couch and chat. There was a strangely comforting feeling about the peacefulness of time. I heard from the nanny that Ivy has been calling for her mommy and daddy in her sleep lately. Gordon nodded. The new nanny, Ivy needs some time to adjust. I couldn't help but ask, did you do something to trigger her crying in her sleep? Gordon spoke softly, Ivy's parents passed away in an accident last year. She needs a psychological adjustment period. I was taken aback. Then who are you? A human trafficker? Gordon couldn't help but smile. What are you thinking? I'm her uncle. After my sister passed away, I adopted her. We live as father and daughter, to spare her from odd looks from others. I patted him. You're quite responsible. Gordon suddenly leaned closer to me. I could even smell the faint scent of grass on him. Donna, do you think a single man like me, raising a child, would attract any girls? Of course. You're handsome, capable, and the most important thing is that you have a good heart. Do you find me attractive? The shift in tone caught me off guard. I can't. Why not? I have to go home in 3 years. Gordon's smile faded. A hint of loneliness crossed his face. Donna, can't you forget about your ex-husband? I laughed. How could I? I heard he's about to get married. Gordon's eyelashes fluttered, his eyes lighting up with barely concealed excitement. Really? Should I send him a big gift to congratulate him on his wedding? I was taken aback. Gordon, why are you excited that my ex is getting married? He looked as happy as if it were his own ex. It had been nearly half a year. Donna showed no signs of wanting to come back. She seemed to have left decisively. Adam was busy every day and didn't think about Donna much. Eden had gradually stopped crying as well. He just often stared blankly at the little puppets Donna had made. But several nannies took good care of him. Adam didn't have any concerns. It was just that Clara had hinted to him several times. Adam, how does a pink diamond look on my finger? Word had spread that Adam was going to marry Clara. He wondered if Donna had heard. In truth, Clara was someone he had liked for a long time. Perhaps childhood memories ran deep. Back then, when he had just arrived at the orphanage, he was frail and weak. But his gaze was fierce, like a wild little leopard that refused to give in. He often got bullied by the other kids at the orphanage. One day, he was badly beaten by them. Clara had called the director, and the kids dispersed. Clara had smiled and handed him a fruit candy. "Here, it's very sweet." Yes, it was sweet, the sweetest candy he had ever tasted as a child. He had never doubted that Clara was the woman he loved most. Yet, in some corner of his heart, a different feeling whispered. For some inexplicable reason, he found himself driving to Donna's building. He watched as Donna walked in with a handsome man and a cute little girl, all laughing. He recognized the man. It was a bit surprising that Donna knew someone like that. Just as Donna stepped out alone, he stopped her, looking at her with a half-smile. "So you're keeping your cool this time?" Donna was taken aback when she saw him and didn't respond. Shouldn't she be happy that he came? Wasn't he giving her an out? When she stayed silent, Adam felt inexplicably irritated. "Donna, you know my temper. Once I've made up my mind, I won't change it. If you want Eden, you'll have to move back yourself. Otherwise, I'll marry Clara, and you'll have no chance." Donna's expression was as calm as it had been when she brought up divorce in his office 6 months ago. "Congratulations, Mr. Adam. If you want my blessing, you went out of your way to come here." Adam felt a sudden, painful twinge in his heart. A surge of unnamed anger flared up. "Donna, do you think you've snagged a rich guy?" I was momentarily stunned. "What?" Adam scoffed. "The heir of the Smith family in Nan City, Gordon." I had vaguely heard Adam mention him before. In the business world, the Smith family was the toughest opponent he faced. They played both sides and had deep pockets. Gordon may seem like a small-time doctor, but he's the only heir of the Smith family, destined to inherit their business. "You really think they'd marry a divorced woman like you?" I didn't like what he said. What's wrong with being divorced? Is that a woman's problem? Many divorced women just had bad luck with lousy men. "Adam, it's lucky you have some money, or with that temper of yours and your penchant for emotional coldness, after your divorce, you'd just be the kind of man who ridicules his ex-wife. In my hometown, you'd end up lonely for life." It was rare for Adam to be at a loss for words, and his face fell. But I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Ignoring his dark expression, I turned to leave. Unexpectedly, I came face to face with Gordon, who had been eavesdropping in the corner. I cleared my throat. "I'm usually pretty gentle, really, you believe me?" Gordon nodded. "I believe you." As we walked, we suddenly exchanged a knowing smile. I asked him, "What are you laughing about?" "Donna, you're kind of cute when you curse." "Of course. I think what you said makes a lot of sense. Even though I wasn't a teenager anymore. Being praised by a good-looking man who showed interest in me made my cheeks flush. I quickened my pace. Gordon followed at a leisurely pace. "Donna, the most important thing is, my marriage is my own decision, and it has nothing to do with the Smith family. Did you hear that?" A week before Adam's wedding, Eden unexpectedly showed up with the butler. He was almost 8 now. He'd lost his baby fat, grown taller, and looked just like Adam. "Hi, Eden." His eyes were slightly red. "Mommy." I took Eden upstairs. "Did your dad agree to let you come?" I knew the butler wouldn't dare bring Eden without Adam's permission. Eden nodded. "Mommy, do you really not want me anymore?" I smiled slightly. "Mommy hasn't given you up, it's always been you who didn't want me." "Then why don't you come home?" I sighed. "I divorced your dad, and divorce means we don't live together." Eden turned his head away, his gaze dropped to the floor. "Can't you come back for me? You say you haven't given me up?" "Eden, why should I go back because of you?" Though he was young, Eden was very smart. I wouldn't treat him like a little kid because he could understand. In the past, I was so desperate to survive my challenges and to have the family I dreamed of, a loving husband and adorable children, that I became obsessed. But like sand in your hands, the tighter you grasp, the faster it slips away. In those 5 years, I revolved around you and your dad, losing myself. That kind of self-sacrifice doesn't mean anything, it didn't make me happy. Only by loving myself first can I love others. Eden, there's nothing wrong with mommy choosing to love herself first. Eden seemed to understand, sort of. He muttered quietly, then why didn't you take me when you divorced? I told him seriously, I could take you, I don't have to go back to my own world. After all, I gave birth to you, so I do have a responsibility. But Eden, think about it carefully. If you live with me, there won't be any luxury cars picking you up or vast wealth for you to inherit, and no team of nannies and drivers surrounding you. All you'd have is an ordinary life, just like what you see in front of you. Would you be okay with that? Eden lowered his head and fell silent. I know my child well. He has his own choices. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, a pink little whirlwind rushed into my arms. Donna, I want to eat pear candy. Ivy blinked when she saw Eden. Donna, is this handsome big brother your son? I smiled and nodded. I handed Ivy some pear candy I had made. Here you go, mommy makes it really well. It's healthy and delicious, way better than the fancy candy you buy outside. Eden took the candy. Then suddenly cried. Mommy, I'm sorry. I knew he was thinking about how he had thrown away the candy I made, treating it like garbage. Sometimes, things you throw away with your own hands are really hard to get back. Love is like that too. Adam married Clara. The wedding was extravagantly grand, trending in Nan City. In the pictures, Clara was all smiles. But Adam's face was expressionless. Eden, dressed in a little suit as the ring bearer, wore a look just like his father's, showing no emotions. However, his birthday wish from when he was 5 finally came true. Let's just say, son, you wished for it, so you have to take it. Oddly enough, the happiest ones about Adam's marriage were Gordon and Ivy. The father and daughter insisted on dragging me to their vacation villa. Donna, there's a beautiful starry sky over there. And we can set off fireworks. Ivy twirled around happily. I love watching fireworks. Seeing Ivy slowly emerge from the shadow of losing her parents, becoming happier day by day, made me quite happy too. Under the night sky, we ate hot pot and sliced watermelon. The stars above were countless, and fireflies flickered around, while frogs croaked near the pond. Honestly, the life I wanted wasn't so different from this. As Ivy handed me watermelon, she asked. Donna, you're not sad about your ex-husband getting married, right? I almost choked on the watermelon. Who told you to ask that? Dad didn't tell me to ask, I just wanted to know. Gordon, who was pouring tea, suddenly shook a bit. Donna, don't be sad. You still have us. Even if that handsome guy calls someone else Mom. But you still have me, I can be your baby. I smiled and pinched her little chubby face. What else do you want to say? Just say it all at once. Ivy cleared her throat like an adult. If you think it's not enough for me to be your baby, my dad can also be your husband. Now it was my turn to be startled. To ease the awkwardness, Ivy loudly asked Gordon, who seemed busy but wasn't really doing much. Right, Dad? You can, right? You can be Donna's husband, can't you? Gordon softly hummed in agreement, his ears slightly turning red. Then he looked up at the sky, at Ivy, at the trees and flowers, but he wouldn't look at me. Happy times always feel like they have an accelerator. 3 years flew by in a flash. Honestly, I had a pretty good life after the divorce. The only regret was why I didn't divorce Adam sooner. Host, on the 3rd of next month, at 4 p.m., the program will start. Stay or depart? When I heard my answer, the system seemed a bit surprised. Are you sure you want to leave? Donna, I thought you would choose to stay. Adam couldn't tell if he married Clara because he liked her more or just to get under Donna's skin. Life after the wedding was pretty mundane. Nothing changed, yet everything felt different. For some reason, he developed a habit of drinking. A few shots would numb his nerves, and suddenly he felt more alive. Otherwise, when he was sober, he always sensed Donna's lingering presence in the house. What the hell? Drunk, and you still see Donna? The voice he heard was cold, not at all like the soft-spoken Donna. I'm Clara, of course I'm not Donna. Adam, you still have Donna in your heart. Why did you even marry me? The alcohol made his head pound, and he couldn't think clearly about it. Did he really have Donna in his heart? Maybe not? He had always been indifferent toward Donna, feeling she was just there. Did he? He vaguely remembered feeling a bit sad when Clara got married abroad, but he never regretted not chasing after her sooner. But after the divorce from Donna, it felt like a dull knife cutting through flesh, never any pain at first, but now it was an agonizing, tearing ache. He actually wanted a cozy little home. In the past, he stubbornly thought he didn't need one. Clara, what do you want? Divorce? Living with daily arguments was exhausting, she must be tired too. Turns out, not loving someone is so draining. Clara bit her lip, her eyes red. Adam, you wanted to marry me. I won't divorce you no matter what. Let's just torture each other for the rest of our lives. No one gets to be happy. Clara stormed out, her heels clicking angrily on the floor. Adam saw Eden across the study, emotionless as he closed the door. Was this still a home? Damn it, it feels like three strangers living together. He smashed the wine glass against the wall, and it shattered. It was broken, just broken. It couldn't be whole again. The night before separating, I couldn't sleep. It felt like the night before my first big trip as a kid, wide awake with anticipation. I'd told Eden and Ivy about my plans to leave. Eden's expression was flat. But when I mentioned leaving, he teared up. Mom, I can't stop you. You have to be yourself, and I respect your choice. Eden, thank you for understanding. After all, we're mother and son. There's no deep hatred, but we're not close either. Our bond is something we can't just cut off, it feels right to respect each other this way. Ivy's eyes were red from crying, trying to act brave. Donna, I'm fine. If you want to go home, just go. But you have to think of me while you're there. I wiped her tears, my heart aching. You make it sound like I'm going to heaven. I'm just going home, sweetheart. No crying like this. Ivy pouted, my dad is crying too. I was taken aback. Gordon crying? That big guy over 6 feet tall? I hadn't seen him in over a week. I heard the place had been busy, he was even skipping sleep. After some thought, I decided I'd see him one last time. I had never witnessed such chaos in a hospital. Blood sprayed all over the walls. A crowd of doctors and nurses pushed patients toward the operating room. I caught a glimpse of a patient lying there in a white coat. My pupils constricted, who was that patient? I couldn't get in, but someone nearby told me, a middle-aged patient attacked the doctor and then jumped. That doctor, Hugo, is such a good person. It's heartbreaking. I pressed my hand to my chest, my heart racing. I knew Dr. Hugo, he was Gordon's colleague and a kind, gentle doctor. Then I heard some family members of patients complaining. Gordon is so cold-hearted. He didn't rush to save Dr. Hugo, but went for that criminal instead. Maybe he's jealous of Dr. Hugo's skills. Perhaps other doctors were already saving Dr. Hugo, and Gordon couldn't get in, so he went for the criminal. Nonsense. They didn't understand anything. Gordon wasn't that kind of person. I didn't have the energy to argue with them, anxiously waiting for news from the surgery. The operating room doors opened. There were 2 good pieces of news. Dr. Hugo is stable and out of danger, it's a medical miracle. They also revived the criminal. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. I felt ready to confront those ignorant family members. Dr. Hugo is in the hands of highly skilled doctors. Gordon didn't need to push his way in and create chaos, this is a hospital, not a marketplace. Do you think it's easier to get things done with a crowd? The criminal deserves to be saved, so he can see himself get convicted, be despised by everyone, and suffer for his actions. Otherwise, dying would be letting him off too easily. The complainers were suddenly quiet. I turned around to find Gordon eavesdropping again. He looked tired, but smiled brightly. Donna, thank you for defending me. Otherwise, I might have been wrongfully accused. In a secluded spot, he quietly asked me, "You're here to tell me you're not leaving tomorrow, right?" I knew he meant the separation from the system. I smiled. Sorry, but yes, I am leaving tomorrow. Today is Clara's birthday, and she's throwing a lavish party at the villa. Adam is just going along with her nonsense. Right now, all he can give her is money, nothing else. Yesterday, Eden told the housekeeper he was going out to see Donna. Adam went along with it. Eden now talks to the housekeeper and nanny more than to Adam. Today, for a rare occasion, Eden knocked on Adam's study door. His eyes were red, like he had been crying. Adam frowned. Didn't we say boys shouldn't cry easily? Crying yesterday, crying again today? Eden's voice was low. Mom's leaving today, going back to her own home, and won't return. After saying that, Eden walked away. Adam sat there for a long moment, stunned. He took a deep drag from his cigarette, feeling inexplicably anxious. He thought Donna wouldn't lie. It was her system that was taking her away. Now, he even believed she had a system. Adam grabbed the car keys from the table and headed downstairs. Just as he opened the door, Clara was standing there. She stepped inside and pushed the door closed. Today is my birthday. Are you still going to look for her? Adam, you jerk. Did you even think about my feelings? Adam didn't argue. At this point, he couldn't. Clara pressed her body against the door. She was crying and shouting, her meticulously done makeup smeared. Adam gritted his teeth. Get out of the way. Today, I swear I won't let you go out to find her. Adam didn't want to hurt her. Because he felt sorry for her too. A woman whose husband didn't love her. He just stood by the window, sneering. Clara, I don't care about you, so please don't care about me, okay? Did you ever think about my feelings with all that you've done? Clara's face visibly soured. What did I do? Now, looking at her felt like looking at a stranger. Assistant, director. Whoever you want to find is fine, just don't harm the people around me. Clara started to cry loudly. If you hadn't ignored me and treated me coldly, would I have made mistakes? Adam glanced at his watch. There was no time left. He pushed open the second-floor window and jumped down. If he didn't leave now, he felt like he would go crazy. Once in the car, he slammed on the gas. Maybe this was his last hope. Hoping Donna would stay. But things didn't go as planned. He drove recklessly, and at the corner, he collided head-on with an oncoming sports car. In the deafening crash, he lost control of the car entirely. His consciousness began to fade. The airbag deployed. Blood dripped from his head. One leg was trapped under the seat, immobile, probably ruined. This was Adam's first time crying as an adult. Crying like a child. He knew he'd missed his chance. He would never have a chance to keep Donna. Today is the day I leave. But I didn't leave, and no one knows. I finally found Gordon and his daughter. In the afterglow of the sunset, Gordon stood there like a fine sculpture. He looked at the coastline in the distance quietly, with a lonely and decadent expression. And Ivy was digging sand with the small shovel I gave her. While digging, she kept mumbling. I walked closer and listened, and laughed. Crab, don't pinch me. Donna left, I thought of 100 happy things to hold back my tears. Dad can hold back, so can I. If you come to pinch me, I will really cry for you to see. I squatted down and took away all the little crabs in the sand. Dig, baby. Ivy glanced at me, suddenly stunned, and then turned around and shouted. Dad, come quickly, I have hallucinations in broad daylight, I saw Donna. In the sunset, Gordon slowly raised the corners of his lips, and there was a little red at the end of his eyes. Ivy, it's true. Donna is back. Ivy was so happy. Donna, you're not leaving, right? Gordon put his hands in his pockets. Didn't you say you were going out today? I pointed to the cake beside me. Today is your birthday, can't I go out and buy a cake? Gordon's smile brightened visibly. Ivy spun around on the beach. The waves chased her little feet, making her laugh happily. Gordon's eyes flickered. Hey, it's not because of us that you're delayed from going home, is it? I'm so embarrassed, Donna. The corners of my mouth rose. Gordon, you need some tea. Of course it's not because of you. It's because I can't go back for the time being. Yesterday in the hospital, the system was still complaining. Women are fickle as expected. You said you wanted to leave last month, but now you want to stay? System, I beg you, can you use my points to keep Dr. Hugo alive? Because the system told me that Dr. Hugo could not be saved, and a genius doctor died. Okay, but the points will be cleared at once, and you will have nothing and can't go home. It's okay, system, I'll save more, and if it's not enough, I can just use your points and borrow from you. The system was angry. You are so shameless, don't always think about using my points. I am a stingy and selfish system. No, you are a kind system. I know that there is actually no 3-year cooling off period. The system made it up. The central system will not set such a broken rule. Because the system wants me to live happily more than anyone else. In that world, I was a lonely vegetable, and I had no relatives or friends when I woke up. The system hopes that I can find my own happiness in this world. Even the house I live in now was found by the system. This is a good house. I feel that you and I will both get rich if we live here. It's a system. What kind of fortune can it make? It's just introducing me to people with predestined relationships. The system didn't go in vain. Thanks to it, I met Gordon and his daughter. I made a deal with the system and used up all the points I got back to exchange for Dr. Hugo's life. So I can't leave. When I finished this sentence, Gordon suddenly froze, and then hugged me tightly in his arms. A string of cold liquid flowed into my neck. Donna, thank you. You are really good, really good. Ivy clapped her hands and laughed beside me. Dad, are you embarrassed? You are so old, but you can cry more than me. I smiled and pushed him away. Yeah, a 1.8-meter tall man cries like this. Is he going to make a C? Gordon stood up straight and coughed lightly. It's not 1.8 meters. I was stunned for a moment. What do you mean? It's 1.887 meters, my height. I laughed happily, and Ivy laughed too. Until the sunset sank into the coastline. Our family of 3 was covered in the afterglow of the sunset. We hugged each other and went home, back to our home. End.